Welcome to the Historic Horizons YouTube channel, where history comes to life. Today, we're diving into the gripping story of World War I, a conflict that shook the world and reshaped the course of history. Join us as we uncover the dramatic events that led to the fall of four mighty empires: Germany, Russia, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey. In this episode, we're starting from the very beginning, exploring the outbreak of war and the chain of events that set the world on fire. But hold on to your seats, because this is just the beginning of an epic journey through the trenches and battlefields of the Great War. From the heroic stand at Mons to the decisive battles of the Marne and Ypres, we'll be unraveling the stories of courage, sacrifice, and determination that defined this pivotal moment in history. So, grab your favorite snack, settle in, and get ready to be transported back in time. And if you're as fascinated by history as we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on this incredible journey. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating history of World War I. World War I, fought from 1914 to 1918, was a massive international conflict that involved most of Europe, along with Russia, the United States, the Middle East, and other regions. The war saw the Central Powers, primarily Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey, battling against the Allies, which included France, Great Britain, Russia, Italy, Japan, and, starting in 1917, the United States. It concluded with the defeat of the Central Powers, leaving behind a legacy of unprecedented slaughter and destruction. World War I is often seen as a turning point in 20th century history. It led to the collapse of four major imperial dynasties in Germany, Russia, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey, sparked the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, and, through its disruption of European society, set the stage for World War II. The war also highlighted the contributions of several remarkable women, including Marie Curie, Mabel St. Clair Stobart, and Aileen Cole Stewart, whose roles were significant during this tumultuous period. The last known survivors of World War I were American serviceman Frank Buckles, who passed away in February 2011, British-born Australian serviceman Claude Schule, who died in May 2011, and British servicewoman Florence Green, who died in February 2012. Florence Green was the final living veteran of this global conflict. With Serbia already significantly empowered by the two Balkan Wars, 1912-13, 1913, Serbian nationalists began to focus on the idea of liberating the South Slavs of Austria-Hungary. Colonel Dragutin Dimitrijevic, head of Serbia's military intelligence, and also known as APIS, led the secret society Union or Death, dedicated to this pan-Serbian goal. APIS believed that the assassination of the Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to Emperor Franz Joseph, would advance their cause. Learning that Franz Ferdinand was scheduled to visit Bosnia for a military inspection, APIS began plotting his assassination. Nikola Pašic, the Serbian prime minister and a rival of APIS, learned of the plot and attempted to warn the Austrian government. However, his warning was too vague to be understood. On June 28, 1914, at 11:15 a.m. in Sarajevo, the Bosnian capital, Gavrilo Princip, a Bosnian Serb, shot and killed Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie, Duchess of Hohenberg. In response, Franz, Graf, Count, Konrad von Hotzendorf, the chief of the Austro-Hungarian General Staff, and Leopold, Graf von Berchtold, the foreign minister, saw the assassination as an opportunity to undermine Serbia and boost Austria-Hungary's influence in the Balkans. Konrad had previously secured, in October 1913, the support of William II of Germany for a preventive war against Serbia. This support was reaffirmed in the week following the assassination, just before William left for his annual cruise to the North Cape off Norway on July 6. Austria-Hungary decided to present Serbia with an unacceptable ultimatum and then declare war, counting on Germany to prevent Russian intervention. Although the terms of the ultimatum were finalized on July 19th, its delivery was delayed until the evening of July 23rd. This delay ensured that French President Raymond Poincaré and his premier, René Viviani, who were on a state visit to Russia from July 15th, would be on their way home and unable to coordinate an immediate response with their Russian allies. When the ultimatum was delivered on July 24th, Russia declared that Austria-Hungary must not be allowed to crush Serbia. Serbia responded to the Austro-Hungarian ultimatum on July 25th, agreeing to most demands but rejecting two key points. the dismissal of specific Serbian officials at Austria-Hungary's request, and the involvement of Austro-Hungarian officials in proceedings against anti-Austrian organizations on Serbian soil. Serbia offered to submit the matter to international arbitration, but Austria-Hungary severed diplomatic relations and ordered partial mobilization. When Emperor William II returned from his cruise on July 27th and learned of Serbia's reply, he instructed the German Foreign Office to advise Austria-Hungary to avoid war and settle for a temporary occupation of Belgrade. However, the German Foreign Office had already encouraged Austria-Hungary to take a firmer stance, leading Foreign Minister Berchtold to persuade Emperor Franz Joseph to authorize war against Serbia. War was declared on July 28th, and Austro-Hungarian artillery began bombarding Belgrade the following day. In response, Russia ordered partial mobilization against Austria-Hungary on July 29th and general mobilization on July 30th. Germany, still hoping to keep the conflict localized, sent ultimatums to Russia and France on July 31st, demanding Russia halt its mobilization and France remain neutral. Both nations ignored the demands. On August 1st, Germany declared war on Russia and ordered general mobilization, with France doing the same. Germany invaded Luxembourg on August 2nd and demanded Belgium allow German troops passage through its neutral territory. When Belgium refused, Germany declared war on France on August 3rd and invaded Belgium that night. Consequently, Great Britain declared war on Germany on August 4th to defend Belgian neutrality. In the following days, the conflict rapidly expanded. Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia on August 5th, Serbia on Germany on August 6th, Montenegro on Austria-Hungary on August 7th and Germany on August 12th, France and Great Britain on Austria-Hungary on August 10th and 12th, respectively, Japan on Germany on August 23rd, and Austria-Hungary on Japan on August 25th and Belgium on August 28th. Although Romania had renewed its secret anti-Russian alliance with the Central Powers in February 1914, it chose to remain neutral. Italy, having confirmed the Triple Alliance in December 1912, found grounds to stay out of the conflict, arguing the alliance did not obligate them to support a war of aggression and was not directed against England. On September 5, 1914, Russia, France, and Great Britain signed the Treaty of London, agreeing not to seek separate peace with the Central Powers, solidifying their alliance as the Allied, or Entente, powers. Initially, the outbreak of war was met with enthusiasm and patriotic fervor across Europe. Many believed the conflict would be short, and their side victorious within months. The war was seen either as a defensive necessity or as a fight for justice, treaty sanctity, and international morality. When World War I began, the Allied powers had greater overall demographic, industrial, and military resources than the Central Powers. They also had easier access to the oceans, facilitating trade with neutral countries, particularly the United States. The Allied powers boasted larger populations, superior steel production, and stronger armed forces compared to the Central Powers. Great Britain's industrial capacity slightly surpassed Germany's, 17% of world trade in 1913 versus Germany's 12%. Germany's diversified chemical industry allowed it to produce ersatz materials, mitigating shortages caused by the British blockade. Notably, German chemist Fritz Haber developed a process for nitrogen fixation from air, ensuring Germany's self-sufficiency in explosives. All the initial belligerents, except Great Britain and Germany, were self-sufficient in food. Great Britain had a volunteer army, which was quite small at the start of the war. Other nations had large conscript armies requiring 3 to 4 years of service from able-bodied men, followed by years in reserve formations. Military strength was measured in divisions of 12,000 to 20,000 officers and men. 2 or more divisions formed an army corps, and 2 or more corps constituted an army, ranging from 50,000 to 250,000 men. The German army's high discipline, training, leadership, and armament offset its initial numerical inferiority. The slow mobilization, poor leadership, and lesser armament of the Russian armies balanced the forces between the Central Powers and the Allies, preventing a swift victory for either side. Germany and Austria had the advantage of interior lines of communication, allowing them to move forces quickly to critical points. Germany's railway network enabled the movement of 8 divisions simultaneously from the Western Front to the Eastern Front in just 4.5 days. Germany benefited from strong military traditions, and a cadre of efficient and disciplined regular officers. German senior officers, skilled in directing a war of movement and exploiting flank attacks, were generally more capable than their Allied counterparts in managing large troop formations. When World War I started, the strategies and conduct of the war were heavily influenced by new and improved weapons developed since the Franco-German War of 1870–71. Two of the biggest game changers were the modern machine gun and rapid-fire field artillery. By the 1880s and 90s, machine guns had become reliable and powerful, capable of firing 600 bullets a minute and hitting targets over 1,000 yards away. This made them incredibly effective for defense, as they could mow down attacking soldiers with ease. Years before the outbreak of World War I, German military leaders were already preparing for the possibility of fighting a two-front war against France in the west and Russia in the east. These plans evolved significantly over time under different chiefs of the German General Staff. Moltke foresaw the need for Germany to fight both France and Russia simultaneously. His strategy was to stay on the defensive in the west while delivering a crippling blow to Russia's forces first. Once Russia was weakened, Germany would counterattack the advancing French forces. Waldersee, Moltke's immediate successor, also believed in a defensive strategy in the west. Schlieffen had a different approach that significantly influenced Germany's initial wartime strategy. He recognized that Russia would require 6 weeks to mobilize its vast armies due to the country's immense size, sparse rail network, and inefficient bureaucracy. Schlieffen's plan involved adopting a defensive stance on the Eastern Front with minimal troops. The bulk of the German forces would be concentrated in the west to launch an offensive against France. Instead of attacking France directly through the heavily fortified French-German border, Schlieffen planned to bypass these fortifications by invading through neutral Belgium to the north. This maneuver aimed to sweep westward and then southward through northern France, capturing Paris and knocking France out of the war within weeks. With France defeated, Germany would then shift its forces eastward to confront and destroy the Russian armies. By the time Schlieffen retired in 1905, he had crafted an intricate plan for a sweeping movement by the northern wing of the German armies. This plan involved marching not just through central Belgium, but also through the southernmost part of the Netherlands to bypass the strong Belgian fortresses of Liège and Namur in the Meuse Valley. The German forces would enter France near Lille and then continue their westward advance until they reached the English Channel. From there, they would turn southward to cut off the French army's retreat routes from France's eastern frontier. The outermost edge of this sweeping movement would pass west of Paris to avoid exposing the German right flank to potential counterattacks from the city's outskirts. In 1914, the Eastern Front strategy was shaped by the geographical and political landscape of Russian Poland, the westernmost region of the Russian Empire. Sandwiched between East Prussia to the north, German Poland, Poznania, and Silesia to the west, and Austrian Poland, Galicia, to the south, Russian Poland was vulnerable to invasion from both the Central Powers. However, the Germans, focused on their overarching strategy of defeating France first, hesitated to advance into Russian Poland due to its poor transportation network. At the outbreak of war, the small British Expeditionary Force, BEF, was expected to support French forces as needed. However, the French were unaware of the massive German offensive targeting their northern wing. This lack of awareness contributed to significant challenges for the Western Allies in the early stages of the conflict. Be sure to catch our next episode for the exciting conclusion of World War I. We'll be exploring more about the war in the West in 1914, diving into the Serbian campaign, and discussing Turkey's entry into the conflict. Don't miss out on the action. And while you're at it, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on post notifications to stay updated on all our latest videos. Thanks for joining us on this historical journey, and we'll see you in the next episode.